narcissistic billionaire man baby is president because his fifis are hurt. That's what the Constitution says. So, you know, that's what the originalist interpretation of the Constitution is. So, sorry.
Well, we do have concrete evidence that there were ballot drop boxes inside of Wisconsin. I don't have the white pages on me, but I would be happy to send that to you.
Right, but I'm still curious because I'm still confused on the unconstitutionality of drop boxes.
For the record, fuck the originalist interpretation. I've talked about this numerous times, but originalist interpretations of the Constitution is basically an intellectual patina on reactionary politics, okay? That is the only fucking reason why people say originalist interpretation. It's fucking bullshit. You're just a racist, sometimes a fascist. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're a conservative, and you want to make it seem like you're intellectualizing your point of view by trying to interpret it that way. And it never, ever, ever fucking extends to like legitimate originalist interpretations, okay? There is no fucking originalist interpretation when it comes to abolishing labor unions, for example, and yet you see these originalist Supreme Court justices consistently take a very different approach when they're deciding to fucking, I don't know, yeet out any matter of unionization in this country. All of a sudden, there's no originalist interpretation there, but they seem to not give a fuck about that at all. Just like if you were to be honest, and if you were to look at the originalist interpretation, well, okay, then what? Black people are fucking worth 3/5 of white people? That only white landowning males can fucking participate in the American democratic process? That women, just like black people, are also fucking property? Like, what is that? Is that what we're doing? No, you don't fucking do that. You never do that because you understand that that's psychotic. But when it comes down to anything else, you're like, oh, well, that's the original interpretation. It's like, shut the fuck up. It's bullshit, okay?
Is because a Trump-appointed judge dismissed that argument before the election. But if you would just answer my question. So you said you had 3 constitutional lawyers.
Oh, yeah. The originalist interpretation of the Second Amendment is, of course, super ironic because the only reason why we interpret the Second Amendment like as we do is a relatively new phenomena and advocated by those very same originalists who clearly did not interpret it in the way that it was meant to be interpreted at the time and totally fucking made it up as they go along. Okay? Totally made it up as they go along. No one before like 1990 ever thought about the Second Amendment in the way that we do now. Okay?
What other work did you put in to actually looking at whether there was fraud in this past election? Because as you know, Congressman, and you knew coming on the show, look, you were spouting some really inflammatory claims after the election and before the January 6th riot, okay? You voted even after the riot to decertify results, millions of votes. So I'm just wondering, what kind of work did you put into making sure you were rock solid before making those claims and deciding to do that?
Yes, ma'am. So mainly it was going through having these constitutional lawyers look into the state of Wisconsin, the people that were actually supposed to try the case, and then looking at their evidence, and we presented that to the American people. A significant portion of the American people agreed with it. I agreed with it myself, and I believe that it was a constitutional infraction, and so that's why I opposed the election. Now, you keep bringing up that I did it even after the January 6th insurrection, which, again, I think is despicable and I absolutely condemn. But the people who changed their vote because of that, I believe they were doing it because of political expedience, either if they were going to contest or if they weren't going to contest. The actions of January 6th do not change what happened in the November election, and I believe what happened in Wisconsin was unconstitutional.
Okay, so you keep focusing on Wisconsin, but there were several battleground states that you contested to, that you talked about. There were several that President Trump had lost. So it's interesting you're focusing on Wisconsin, but would you apply the same issues you had with these battleground states to your own state of North Carolina? Because North Carolina also changed a lot of the rules, even after voters had started voting. Why didn't you
have
concerns about your own home state of North Carolina?
Oh, no!
Well, you know what, Pam, I'm actually not aware of the laws that were changed inside of North Carolina. I believe we had a very safe and a very secure election here.
There were several rules.
There's no reason to contest that.
Yeah, there were several rules, one of which is to extend when the mail-in ballots could arrive, I believe by around 7 days. That was one, and there were a couple of others as well that were changed.
See, what you don't understand is I won in North Carolina, which means that it's fine. It's not fraudulent. What is so hard to comprehend about this, lady? When Republicans win, that's not fraudulent. When Democrats win, that's fraudulent. That is how this works. Why are you having a hard time comprehending how this process is supposed to work, lady? That's right. Because the Constitution told me it's okay. If Republicans lose, then it's fraudulent. If Democrats lose, then it's all right. That's how it's supposed to be.
Even after people started voting. So I'm just wondering, if you're so concerned about these rules being changed with the election, why wouldn't you focus on your own home state of North Carolina? I mean, you're telling me that your concern really is about election integrity, not politics, not the results of the election, right?
See, an experienced debater would say, whataboutism, okay? Or, I don't know, that's like whataboutism, or an experienced debater like a Ben Shabibo type would have fucking rolled over her. Let's be real. She did a good enough job of preparing for the first line of questions. She had counters to the first line of questions, but he is not experienced at all. He hasn't learned from the school of fucking Karl Rove and Ben Shabibo and all these other like sick freaks on the Republican side who very clearly will like say something that's like maybe tangentially racist. So you hyper focus on that, and then the conversation turns to like whether she's being inappropriate for calling him a racist or not. You know what I mean? Like, there are many different avenues out of this that Republicans routinely fucking use, and he's not there. Like, he hasn't figured that shit out. He thinks that you can have this conversation on the merits. No, Republicans never have a conversation on the merits because they have no fucking standing, because what they're advocating for is literally not the reality. So if you are consistently fucking lying all the time, and the other side actually has fucking factual information to back up their claims, then what you're supposed to do is lie further, deflect, and then take them down into a rabbit hole with you. And Ben Shabibo does a really good job with this. Okay? And other congresspersons are relatively decent at it too. You're supposed to say some fucking psychotic shit and then, cast an accusation back at CNN and be like, why was there no coverage of the Hunter Biden laptops? Boom. Conversation all of a sudden completely irrelevant. Completely. Forget every single fucking thing that happened leading up to this moment. And Ted Cruz does this very well too, despite the fact that he is literally a fucking evangelical hobgoblin. He is very good at that. Why aren't we talking about Hunter Biden laptops? I came here to talk about the integrity of mainstream media. Totally fucking lie. You don't give a shit about mainstream media integrity. You're just fucking lying. And he's not doing that. That's precisely why he's getting clapped here. What's the counter trap for whataboutisms? Oh, you say, well, if someone says that's a whataboutism, like, why are you talking about my election here? I say, you're a fucking you're a seated representative. Wouldn't you want to know if your election was actually fucking legitimate or not? You're casting doubt on elections all around the country and not your own. It's not a whataboutism. It's absolutely something that is important to talk about, especially considering the fact that you are making this a point of conversation, but conveniently ignoring the fact that your own personal election was totally fine. Like, just don't accept your opponent's reframing and center the conversation back at the matter at hand. These people say we need to interpret the Constitution as having intricacies and hyperbole, and simultaneously think Noah actually built an ark for every animal on Earth. No. We were able to pump up the contrast and enhance. We were able to analyze the stress level. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that Wisconsin's legislature granted the election committee to change the rules, and they did so by allowing drop boxes. The judge upheld that election committee was in fact allowed to perform their actions legally as they were prescribed by the legislature. So even he's an even bigger dumbass say it's illegal. Yeah. And the irony, of course, there's two layers here. There's two levels here. One is, well, why the fuck didn't you cry about it before the election? And like, because it's too fucking late after the election. And again, why aren't you crying about it on your own fucking election? Oh, wait, because you fucking won that election.
That is absolutely correct. I didn't do this for any one man or against any one man.
Okay. So North Carolina, though, the same issues you've had and you've expressed about the battleground states, those are the same issues that are in your own state of North Carolina. And North Carolina actually did have mail-in ballot fraud in 2018.
That's true. The irony is North Carolina actually had crazy mail-in ballot fraud because of ballot harvesting. And someone, guess what party? Guess what fucking party did the fucking mail-in ballot fraud in North Carolina? Please. Well, then it's not. Then it's not. It's not actually a. Listen. My friend. Ballot harvesting conducted on behalf of the Republican Party is not real. Okay? It's not real. Listen. I don't want to talk about GOP operatives here. We are here to talk about illegal voting, not legal voting. When Republicans do ballot harvesting, we're actually doing it to learn what the Democrats are doing. That's why we did it in North Carolina. The hilarity is, like, again, the most notable, most famous case of ballot harvesting and ballot fraud, basically, conducted in North Carolina was literally conducted by the GOP operatives there. Okay? He must be Antifa. Legit question, 2019 from the 2018 midterms.
So you're not concerned about your home state and whether you were duly elected by your own standards?
Well, I'll tell you, because of the mail-in ballot fraud that happened in the midterms here in 2018, I believe our election integrity standards here in North Carolina are some of the greatest in the country. I think they should apply this metric all over the country, but that's just my opinion.
So the Democratic-led governor's
rules that you're talking about that were
office.
changed.
Okay, so the Democratic governor and the Democratic-led election board, they all they turned everything around in terms of the concerns about election fraud in North Carolina.
I believe they did. Yes, the election that was actually overturned was a Republican one in 2018.
No, what I'm saying is, after that, there was a Democratic governor, a Democratic election board. You're saying they've turned things around, that things are safer in North Carolina now. So I'm just saying, so you're giving the Democrats credit then for making voting safer in your state, and so that's why you're not worried.
Absolutely.
I can't believe I'm over here shitting on literally the congressperson that is a mishmash of Ludwig and soda poppin', by the way. Like, literally, if you put Ludwig and soda poppin' together in a machine, this would be the outcome.
Absolutely. I think our election board here in North Carolina is second to none. I voted for a different person for governor, but I will say that Roy Cooper here in North Carolina did make sure we had a safe and secure election. So when I contested to the election, that was within the constitutional guidelines that the framers had set up. But after I've done that and the electors and the delegates from each state elected Joe Biden as our president, I respect the office. He is my president, and I want to work with him to make sure that we can bring some meaningful change to the American people, although I think he will disagree with most of my policies.
And that's okay. Disagreement of policies is normal. But can you now say that the election was not stolen, that it wasn't a fraudulent election?
Yes, I think I would say that the election was not fraudulent. The Constitution allowed.
Wait, why are you there then? Wait, what? Why are you still? What the fuck, dude? Why did all this happen then?
For us to be able to push back as much as we could, and I did that to the amount of the constitutional limits that I had at my disposal. So now I would say that Joseph R. Biden is our president.
And you have no regrets?
No, I do not have any regrets.
That's so okay, dude. That was a very weird. That was a very, very weird back and forth that occurred there. But ultimately, I guess he concedes and he admits. I don't know what the fuck that was. The way you pause the video to tear this guy apart reminds me of how Adam Sandler would pause time and click and fart in people's faces. Ha ha. Ha ha. Smile. Thanks. Pressed repeatedly by George Stephanopoulos, Senator Rand Paul won't say if the 2020 election was stolen, calls for investigation of fraud, but doesn't provide evidence. Let's take a look at this one. There are not two sides of this story. This has been looked at in every single state. Guys, listen. In the state of Georgia, when they did a recount and it wasn't enough, and then they did another recount and it wasn't enough, and then they did a third recount, which was hand counted, and it still wasn't enough. What we had to do actually was, do a fourth one where we just didn't count the Democratic votes. Okay? That's what needed to happen. Okay? What needed to happen was we do recounts, but in the recounts, we just don't count any of the Democratic votes as legitimate and only count the Republican votes, in which case the Republicans would win. Why can't we just do that? Come on, please. Why can't we just do that? Why can't we do that? Benghazi, George Orwell. This is literally 1980. This is 1987, George Orwell, Animal Crossing, brother. When you count Democratic votes in an election, that's literally George Orwell, brother. It's Benghazi all over again. Fuck.
Question for you. This election was not stolen. Do you accept that fact?
Well, what I would say is that the debate over whether or not there was fraud should occur. We never had any presentation in court where we actually looked at the evidence. Most of the cases were thrown out for lack of standing, which is a procedural way of not actually hearing the question. There were several states in which the law was changed by the Secretary of State and not the state legislature. To me, those are clearly unconstitutional, and I think there's still a chance that those actually do finally work their way up to the Supreme Court. Courts traditionally and historically don't like to hear election questions. But yes, were there people who voted twice? Were there dead people who voted? Were there illegal aliens who voted? Yes.
Okay. There are problems within every election. No system is perfect. We have had this conversation a million times over. This notion that undocumented citizens voted is idiotic, okay? But did dead people vote? Sure. Ironically, of course, a famous case out of Pennsylvania was a Republican, again, voting for I believe, a dead relative, or voting twice, maybe? I'm not entirely certain. But the whole point is, you don't overturn the results, or you don't do another re-election because 0.00001% of voter fraud occurred in the previous election. Like, that's just saying that, like, because of 0.0000001% of fraud was happening, that we need to fucking overturn the results because I didn't like what happened is psychotic. It's idiotic. Of course, the argument on the other hand is, well, what about COVID, Hassan? What about COVID? Well, here's the difference. In one circumstance, you have an election. Are the outcomes of that election changing as a consequence of 0.00001% of fraud? No. But in the other circumstance, if 0.1% of people are fucking dying, well, there's no way to bring those people back. Okay? That's it. They're fucking dead. That's the difference. Okay? You got it? You understand? I voted and I've never lived in the U.S. As a Georgian, I can say after the election for Stacey Abrams was suppressed as it was, we were determined to show out in 2020 the GOP didn't stand a chance, especially in Fulton, DeKalb County, that are the most dense and majority African American. Georgia was ours through and through. I mean, it still was very close.
We should get to the bottom of it. I'll give you an example. In my state, when we had a Democrat Secretary of State, she refused, even under federal order, to purge the rolls of illegal voters. We got a Republican Secretary of State, and he purged the rolls.
But, Senator
it does
Paul,
make a difference, and those things
I
do
have to stop
occur.
you there. No election is perfect, but there were 86 challenges filed by President Trump and his allies in court. All were dismissed. Every state certified the results after
Dismissed,
investigations, after investigations, counts, and recounts. The Department of Justice, led by William Barr, said there's no widespread evidence of fraud. Can't you just say the words, this election was not stolen?
What I would suggest is that if we want greater confidence in our elections.
Yeah, I just want greater confidence in our elections, which is why I'm still not letting go and still lying, despite the fact that, like, all matter of evidence, all matter of, like, institutional research conducted into the matter points to the exact fucking opposite. That's how I'm going to make sure that our elections are more secure, by literally lying about the integrity, okay? That's how we do it. Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up, you spaghetti-haired freak. God damn it, dude. Oh, my Lord. And then people say this guy has, like, integrity and shit. No, he is a total piece of shit. Just because every now and then he says some cool stuff about fucking American imperialism does not change the reality that he is a Republican, textbook Republican through and through, okay?
And 75% of Republicans agree with me, is that we do need to look at election integrity, and we do need to see if we can restore confidence in the elections.
Well, 75% of Republicans agree with you because they were fed a big lie by President Trump and his supporters who say the election was stolen. Why can't
Yeah, and you, by the way, the irony is, like, 75% of Republicans agree with you because you've lied to them, okay? So what? That's a much larger problem. 75% of Republicans believe in a lie that you're telling them, as opposed to the truth that I'm trying to get out of you currently, that, you know, not a single, including fucking William Barr, has backed, okay? And by the way, there have been numerous studies conducted on this matter, as I've talked a million times over, as you already know. Leading up to the election, I constantly had this conversation over and over again about election fraud, or, sorry, voter fraud, not election fraud, and how small voter fraud was as a whole, and how inconsequential it was. And the most famous study that they use, the American Enterprise Institute study that they talk about, where it shows 1,200 individual instances of voter fraud that has occurred over more than a billion ballots cast over the course of 3 fucking decades, okay? If you were to take literally every single fucking vote that has been cast in a fraudulent matter, it would not sway the outcome of any individual election, okay?
Can't you say?
Well, I think where
President
you make,
Biden won a
I think where you
legitimate
make
and
a
fair
mistake, hey George, where you make a mistake is that people coming from the liberal side like you immediately say everything's a lie instead of saying there are two sides to everything. Historically, what would happen is if I said that I thought there was fraud, you would interview someone else who said there wasn't. But now you insert yourself in the middle and say the absolute fact is that everything I'm saying is a lie.
Well, because, Senator, I said what the president said was a lie because he said, hold on a second. He said the election was stolen. This election was not stolen. The results were certified in every single state after counts and recounts.
You're saying that absolutely it was. You're saying there was no fraud and it's all been investigated. And that's just not true.
So it's not what I said, sir. I said the Department of Justice found no evidence. Let me finish my point.
No, you said something
that was not true.
You say we're all liars. You're just simply saying we're all liars. And
I said it was a lie that the election was stolen.
Premise that you're right and we're wrong. Well, let's talk about the specifics of it. In Wisconsin, tens of thousands of absentee votes had only the name on.
So because there was voter fraud before, it's okay that we do it now? No, there was no fucking voter fraud before either. There's always voter fraud, but it's never enough to sway the outcome of an election. Of course, no system is fucking perfect. Why do people consistently not hear that part of the conversation? It is an insignificant percentage. It does not fucking matter because it cannot sway the outcome of an election. Okay? 1,200 votes over the course of over the course of hundreds of different votes that have occurred, billions of votes being cast, okay? Billions of votes being cast over the course of 3 fucking decades they've looked at. and only 1,200 fraudulent votes have been cast in that time frame. It's nothing. It is psychotic. Now, the real reason why they act like there is so much voter fraud, despite all evidence pointing to the fact that it is inconsequential, is because that's how they justify voter suppression, which is the real problem, okay? And that's precisely billions, question mark? Yes, billions over the course of 3 decades in a country where, you know, give or take, more than 100 million people fucking vote in every election. Of course, there's going to be billions of fucking votes cast. Yes. And it's not 12,000, it's 1,200.
On them and no address. Historically, those were thrown out. This time they weren't. They made special accommodations because they said, oh, it's a pandemic, and people forgot what their address was. So they changed the law after the fact. That is wrong. That's unconstitutional. And I plan on spending the next 2 years going around state to state and fixing these problems. And I won't be cowed by liberals in the media who say, there's no evidence here and you're a liar if you talk about election fraud. No, let's have an open debate. It's a free country.
There's
such pieces of shit. Like, let's have an open debate. I'm just trying to, hey, you know what this is? This is the adult version of, I was just kidding. Come on, it was just a joke, by the way. That's the more adult version of that. Remember, when Republicans say, oh, we're just trying to question these things, just curious, by the way, that's what that is. That's when some fucking dipshit in my chat says, like, Hassan, you know, why do you murder your editors? Just curious, by the way. Like, that's basically what that is. Or when some fucking Nazi piece of shit, like, you know, questions the Holocaust or something. And then when people ask, like, what the fuck were you doing? Like, why are you questioning the Holocaust? It literally happened. It was like, oh, I was just memeing. I was just a joke. Come on, it was just a joke. That's basically what this is. When someone says, okay, well, I'm just asking questions. I'm just trying to have an honest conversation about it. No, you're not. You're trying to have a dishonest conversation about something that has already been fucking established to be untrue. Okay?
No widespread evidence of election fraud that overturned the results. That was stated as well by the Department of Justice, led by President Trump's Attorney General. In Wisconsin, there were counts and recounts.
Actually, it was never studied. Even that's not true. Even that's not true. Even
William Barr said that directly.
Barr said that, but there was, yes, he said that, yes, that was a pronouncement. There has been no examination, thorough examination of all the states to see what problems we had and see if they could fix them. Now, let me...
What? First of all, leading up to the fucking election, even with Dominion voter software and numerous other fucking protocols were set up in the form of bipartisan bills to beef up election security and election integrity. You know what happened to those bills? Nothing. Because Mitch McConnell didn't let them fucking see the light of day. Okay? It passed in the House and then it sat on Mitch McConnell's fucking desk in perpetuity. So that's one. And then two, there were numerous attempts to undermine all of the efforts that people were putting in to allow ease of voting leading up to the election. Okay? So he's a fucking liar in every part. In every part of this argument is just completely fucking dishonest. Okay? It's just completely fucking made up. Hugo Chavez is in Cuba with Tupac Shakur and the Big Bopper. Wake Up Brothers. Yeah. Remember when Rand Paul's neighbor kicked his ass? I do remember. Broke his fucking ribs. Pretty funny. This is an example of a savior debater. Paul just breaks out all the fallacies for this one, and he basically rolls George by not debating the merits and distracting. Exactly. We are watching someone who is much better at pushing back than Madison Cawthorn. Notice how if he had to stick to the actual fucking facts, he would have no standing. And George Stephanopoulos is an experienced broadcaster. He knows that he's doing that, but he can't center the conversation back. He's even rolling over him and like yelling over him at certain points.
Let me say, to be clear, I voted to certify the state electors because I think it would be wrong for Congress to overturn that. But at the same time, I'm not willing just to sit here and say, oh, everybody on the Republican side is a liar and there is no fraud. No, there were lots of problems, and there were secretaries of state who illegally changed the law, and that needs to be fixed. And I'm going to work hard to fix it. And I won't be cowed by people saying, oh, you're a liar. That's the problem with the media today.
Yeah, he's too honorable, folks. Folks, Rand Paul is, see now, the problem with Rand Paul is that he's too honorable, okay? He cares too much. That's the real problem. I love that. He's like, no, I will not be stopped until every single Democratic vote is considered to be illegitimate and only Republican votes are legitimate. That's states' rights, brother. That's how it's done.
As they say, all Republicans are liars and everything we say is a lie. There are two sides to every story. Interview somebody on the other side, but don't insert yourself into the story to say we're all liars because we think there's some fraud.
But you are literally in the process of lying. So what are people supposed to do? Great.
There are not two sides of the story. This has been looked at in every single state. The election results were certified in every single state.
There are two sides to every story. George, you're forgetting who you are. You're forgetting who you are as a journalist. If you think there's only one side, you're inserting yourself into the story to say, I'm a liar.
See, media bias. Remember, what did I tell you? You got to hit him on the bias front. Conversation went away. Conversation was originally about, do you agree that this election was stolen or not? Do you still hold on to the position that this election was stolen? And there's no answer to that. And now he's saying, well, you're biased if you think that there is no two sides to every conversation. No, there is no both sides of fucking factually accurate information. If literally the institutions on your side have also conducted investigations and found that what you're spouting is wrong.
Because I want to look at election fraud, and I want to look at secretaries of state who illegally changed the voter laws without the permission of their state legislatures. That is incontrovertible. It happened. And you can't just sweep that under the rug and say, oh, nothing to see here, and everybody's a liar, and you're a fool if you bring this up. You're inserting yourself into the story. A journalist would hear both sides, and there are two sides to this story.
I'm standing by facts. There are not two sides to facts. I did not say that this was a perfect election. I said the results were certified. I said it was not stolen. It is a lie to say
people are liars. You're saying people are liars if they want to investigate what happened in the election. Should we investigate the fact that tens of thousands of absentee ballots did not have addresses on them and normally were disqualified, but this time they were counted? Should we examine that? I don't know whether it affected the election or not, but I have an open mind. And if we actually examine this and we find out it didn't, that's fine, but it still should be fixed.
There can be more investigations. The investigations that have taken place have shown there is not enough fraud to change the results of this election. That has been certified by every state. It was stated by the Justice Department and the Attorney General.
And I accepted the state certifications, but it doesn't mean that I think that there wasn't fraud and that there weren't problems that have to be.
Then the question is like, why are you accepting fraudulent certifications then? Like, what's the argument then? Like, what's the argument you're making? If you accept those certifications, then why are you still trying to conduct examinations? If the investigations themselves, if the investigations that have been conducted so far were enough for you to decide, you know, yes, I am going to literally fucking vote and vote to certify these election results, then why the fuck are you still crying about it?
Be investigated, and it doesn't.
Also, aren't you a libertarian? Where is your fucking sense of fiscal responsibility holding up the government processes with this bullshit pork and bullshit fucking extra spending on endless investigations? What's up with that? Aren't you Mr. fucking fiscal responsibility? Where was your deficit hawking and your fiscal responsibility when it came down to like conducting endless experiments and endless investigations on the virtue that like Donald Trump might be upset that he lost the election? Where was that when you voted for the largest fucking tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations since Ronald Reagan? Of course, that was nowhere to be seen either. But
doesn't mean that the law wasn't broken. I believe in Pennsylvania they broke the law, and I believe if that ever would get a real hearing in the Supreme Court, it was denied for standing. It wasn't actually taken up. If it were taken up, I do believe that the Supreme Court would overrule and say that they did break the law illegally.
I asked you a very simple question. Was the election stolen or not?
I think there was a great deal of evidence of fraud and changing of the election laws illegally, and I think a thorough investigation is warranted.
Okay, that's insane. He can't say it. Like, he just can't fucking say it. It's so, oh man, he's so honest. So much
Senator
integrity.
Paul,
so much integrity. Look at the base of their arguments. They're literally saying they're just mad that more people are voting. Yes. The worst part about this is that we haven't even gotten to what they're actually fucking saying, which is we don't like the fact that more people voted. Like, that's it. Did his neighbor really beat his ass? How do I not know about this? Yeah, his neighbor beat his ass over, like, I think bushes or something. What? Sherma saw him, and now he's gonna kill the meme. What? Dude, why do you fucking send such irrelevant shit in the middle of, like, political coverage? Yeah, it was over his lawn or something. Over hedges? They hate democracy. That's why they always point out we're a republic, not a democracy. Hi, it's me, Faith Trans Chatter, day 2 in the Pentagon. You wouldn't believe what I found. I'm starting LGBTQAnon. It's gonna be great. Good one. Biden's first formal press conference as president.
Last week, we immediately got to work to contain the pandemic.
Oh, this is live right now? Holy shit.
To millions of Americans who need it the most. And today, we're getting to work to rebuild the backbone of America. Manufacturing, unions, the middle class. It's based on a simple premise that will reward work, not wealth in this country. And the key plank of ensuring the future will be made in America. I've long said that I don't accept the defeatist view that the forces of automation and globalization can keep union jobs from growing here in America.
Don't take back.
Create more of them, not fewer of them. I don't buy for 1 second that the vitality of the American manufacturing is a thing of the past. American manufacturing was the arsenal of democracy in World War II, and it must be part of the engine of American prosperity now. That means we're going to use taxpayers' money to rebuild America. We'll
he
buy
will take
American
questions?
products
Good.
and support American jobs, union jobs. For example, the federal government every year spends approximately $600 billion in government procurement to keep the country going, safe and secure. And there's a law that's been in the books for almost a century now to make sure that that money, when spent, taxpayers' dollars for procurement, is spent to support American jobs and American businesses. But the previous administration didn't take it seriously enough. Federal agencies waived the Buy American requirement without much pushback at all. Big corporations and special interests have long fought for loopholes to redirect American taxpayers' dollars to foreign companies for the products that are being made. The result, tens of billions of American taxpayers' dollars supporting foreign jobs and foreign industries. In 2018 alone, the department spent $3 billion, the Defense Department, on foreign construction contracts, leaving American steel and iron out in the cold. It spent nearly $300 million in foreign engines and on vehicles instead of buying American vehicles and engines from American companies, putting Americans to work.
This is an important press conference because this is what a lot of companies are looking at right now. Like, what he means by made in America.
20%.
Like, what is he going to do? Is he going to enact, is he going to put tariffs?
Today,
Probably
I'm taking
not,
the
but
first steps in my larger Build Back Better recovery plan that invest in American workers, unions, and businesses up and down the supply chain. And I know that previous presidents entered office by promising to buy America and instituting the Buy American policy. But here's why this is different and not the same. I'll be signing an executive order in just a moment, tightening the existing Buy American policies and go further. We're setting clear directives and clear explanations. We're going to go to the core issue with a centralized, coordinated effort. Look, today I'm creating a director of Made in America at the White House Office of Management and Budget, who will oversee our All of Government Made in America initiative. That starts with stopping federal agencies from waiving Buy American requirements with impunity, as has been going on. If an agency wants to issue a waiver to say we're not going to buy an American product as part of this project, we're going to buy a foreign product, they have to come to the White House and explain it to us. We're going to require that waivers be publicly posted. That is, someone seeking a waiver to build this particular vehicle or facility, and it's going to buy the following foreign parts. That waiver, the request for it, is going to be posted. Then we'll work with small American manufacturers and businesses to give them a shot to raise their hand and say, yeah, I can do that here in my shop, in my town. It's about, as you've heard me say before, I used to have a friend who was a great athlete who said, you got to know how to know. These small businesses don't even know they can compete for making the product that is attempting to be waived and be able to be bought abroad. And I'm directing the Office of Management and Budget to review waivers to make sure they are only used in very limited circumstances. For example, when there's an overwhelming national security, humanitarian, or emergency need here in America. This hasn't happened before. It will happen now. Here's what else we're going to be doing. Under the Build Back Better recovery plan, we'll invest hundreds of billions of dollars in buying American products and materials to modernize our infrastructure, and our competitive strength will increase in a competitive world. That means millions of good-paying jobs using American-made steel and technology to rebuild our roads, our bridges, our ports, and to make them more climate resilient, as well as make them able to move faster and cheaper and cleaner to transport American-made goods across the country and around the world, making us more competitive. It also means replenishing our stockpiles to enhance our national security. As this pandemic has made clear, we can never again be in a position where we have to rely on a foreign country that doesn't share our interest in order to protect our people during a national emergency. We need to make our own protective equipment, essential products and supplies. And we'll work with our allies to make sure they have resilient supply chains as well. We'll also make historic investments in research and development, hundreds of billions of dollars, to sharpen America's innovative edge in markets where global leadership is up for grabs. Markets like battery technology, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, clean energy. The federal government also owns an enormous fleet of vehicles, which we're going to replace with clean electric vehicles made right here in America by American workers, creating millions of jobs, 1 million auto worker jobs in clean energy and vehicles that are net zero emissions. And together, this will be the largest mobilization of public investment in procurement, infrastructure, and R&D since World War II. And with the executive order I'll be signing today, we'll increase Buy American requirements for these kinds of projects and improve the way we measure domestic content requirements. For example, right now, if you manufacture a vehicle for the federal government, you need to show that at least 50% of the components of that vehicle were made in America. But because of loopholes that have been expanded over time, you can count the least valuable possible parts as part of that 50% to say made in America, while the most valuable parts, the engines, the steel, the glass, are manufactured abroad. So basically, we're batting 0 for 2. The content threshold of 50% aren't high enough. And the way we measure the content doesn't account for U.S. jobs and economic activity. We're going to change that as well. The executive action I'm signing today will not only require that companies make more of their components in America, but that the value of those components is contributing to our economy, measured by things like a number of American jobs created and or supported. At the same time, we'll be committed to working with our trading partners to modernize international trade rules, including those relating to government procurement, to make sure we can all use our taxpayer dollars to spur investment that promotes growth and resilient supply chains. And here's what else the action does. When we buy America, we'll buy from all of America. That includes communities that have historically been left out of government procurement. Black, brown, Native Americans, small businesses and entrepreneurs in every region of the country. We will use a national network of manufacturers called the Manufacturing Extension Partnership that's in all 50 states and Puerto Rico to help government agencies connect with new domestic suppliers across the country. This is a critical piece of building our economy back better and including everyone in the deal this time, especially small businesses that are badly hurting in this economy. The executive action I'm taking also reiterates my strong support for the Jones Act and American vessels, and our ports, especially those important for America's clean energy future and the development of offshore renewable energy. I'll close with this. The reason we need to do this is America can't sit on the sidelines in the race for the future. Our competitors aren't waiting. To ensure the future is made in America, we need to win not just the jobs of today, but the jobs and industries of tomorrow. And we know that the middle class built this country, and we also know unions built the middle class. So let's invest in them once again. I know we're ready, despite all we're facing. I've never been more optimistic about the future of America than I am today. Given even just half a chance, the American people, the American workers, has never, ever let the country down. Imagine if we give them a full chance. That's what we're going to do. I'll stop here and sign the executive order, then come back and take some of your questions. This executive order is entitled Ensuring the Future is Made in America by Americans, all of American workers. There you go. Now I'll be happy to take your questions.
Jonathan Lemire with the Associated Press. Two topics, if I may. The first, you have made reopening schools a central part of your first 100 days agenda, and you've long portrayed yourself as an ally to the teachers and unions. Right now, the Chicago Teachers Union has refused. They've defied an order to return to in-person classrooms because of a lack of vaccinations. Do you believe, sir, that teachers should return to schools now?
I believe we should make school classrooms safe and secure for the students, for the teachers, and for the help that's in those schools maintaining the facilities. We need new ventilation systems in those schools. We need testing for people coming in and out of the classes. We need testing for teachers as well as students. And we need the capacity to know that, in fact, the circumstance in the school is safe and secure for everyone. For example, there's no reason why the clear guidance will be that every school should be thoroughly sanitized, from the lavatories to the hallways. And so this is about making, and none of the school districts that I'm aware of, there may be some, public school districts have insisted that all those pieces be in place. And I might add, it's the same kind of thing I hope we can do with small businesses and businesses, making sure they have the capacity to test their workers when they come in, to make sure they have plastic dividers between their booths and in their restaurants, et cetera, to make sure they can sanitize. So it's not so much about the idea teachers aren't going to work. The teachers I know, they want to work. They just want to work in a safe environment and as safe as we can rationally make it, and we can do that, and we should be able to open up every school, kindergarten through 8th grade, if in fact we administer these tests. And it'll have the added advantage, I might add, of putting millions of people back to work. All those mothers and fathers that are home taking care of their children rather than go to work even when they can work. They're not able to do it unless they have the luxury of working distance-wise like many of us do. They're not able to do it. And so this is about generating economic growth overall as well.
Great. Alex from Reuters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Alex Alper from Reuters. I wanted to ask a question about Navalny. If you are considering imposing sanctions on any of the individuals involved in his attempted poisoning and or his arrest when he returned from Germany, and if not, is that related to your concerns about it potentially derailing a New START extension? Thank you.
I find that we can both operate in the mutual self-interest of our countries as a New START agreement and make it clear to Russia that we are very concerned about their behavior, whether it's Navalny, whether it's the solar winds, or whether it's reports of bounties on the heads of Americans in Afghanistan. I've asked the agencies in question to do a thorough read for me on every one of those issues, to update me precisely where they are, and I will not hesitate to raise those issues with the Russians.
Jeff from NBC.
President Biden, Vice President Harris. A question about your COVID relief deal. On Friday, you said the nation is in a national emergency. We should act like it. Given the scale and the severity of the need, how long are you willing to get sufficient Republican support before you would greenlight Democrat attempts to use reconciliation, for instance, to pass that bill?
Well, look, the decision on reconciliation will be one made by the leaders of the House and the Senate. But here's the deal. I have been doing legislative negotiations for a large part of my life. I know how the system works. And what can't guarantee anything at all, but I can say that what I'm going to be doing, and we've already begun, is making it clear to the leadership in the House and the Senate, as well as the group of 16, bipartisan group, as well as Republican individuals who have an interest in the issues that are in my package, and saying, here's what I'm doing, here's why I want to do it, here's why I think we need to do it, and what kind of support can or can't you give to that. And then we go on to the way in which we deal with legislation all the time. You know, we didn't have any votes for the recovery package when Barack and I came into office. We were short 3 votes. We didn't know we had the votes until the day of bringing it up. And but here's the deal.
One irony here is that them having potential opportunities to work with the Republicans under the Obama administration led them to want to compromise, whereas here they know that they're not going to get Republican votes for the most part, so they just fucking straight up will push for budget reconciliation quicker, hopefully.
They have to make a decision that they don't do what they don't support what is being proposed, or they insist on what they have, or they let it all go away, fall down. I think we're far from that point right now. The decision to use reconciliation will depend upon how these negotiations go. And let me make clear about negotiations. I've always believed part of negotiation on the part of a president and or a chairman of a committee trying to get a major piece of legislation passed is about consultation. It's not enough for me just to come up to you and say, I like this, I expect you to support it. I want to explain to you why I think it's so important in this package that we have to provide for money for additional vaccines, why I think it's so important why we provide for money to extend unemployment benefits, why I think it's so important that we provide money to provide for the ability of people not to be thrown out of their apartments during this pandemic because they can't afford their rent. and to make the case to you why I think and what I think the priorities within this piece, we think the priorities are, I apologize, were within this legislation. And I don't expect we'll know whether we have an agreement and to what extent the entire package will be able to pass or not pass until we get right down to the very end of this process, which will be probably in a couple weeks. But the point is, this is just a process beginning.
Annie, the Washington Post.
Thank you, Mr. President. Annie Linsky with the Washington Post.
Annie.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about one of the sort of major themes of your campaign and how you sort of intend to measure and enact it, and that is the idea of unity. If you could talk a little bit about what you see unity as being. There are some people who are defining it as being bipartisan. Others are saying it is what most of the people in the country, defined by some poll, might believe, or any sort of number of, or perhaps it's 50 plus 1, or 50 plus 2, or 75%. So given that it is such a key part of your message and your promise, can you talk and reflect a little bit more about what is unity when you see it and as you define it?
Well, Annie, I think it makes up several of the issues, the points you made. One is unity requires you to eliminate the vitriol. Make anything that you disagree with about the other person's personality or their lack of integrity or they're not decent legislators and the like. So we have to get rid of that. And I think that's already beginning to change, but God knows where things go, number one. Unity also is trying to reflect what the majority of the American people, Democrat, Republican, Independent, think is within the fulcrum of what needs to be done to make their lives and the lives of Americans better. For example, if you look at the data, and I'm not claiming the polling data to be exact, but if you look at the data, you have, I think it's, I hope I'm saying it gets correct. You may correct me if I get the number wrong. I think it's 58% of the American people, including Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, think that we have to do something about the COVID vaccine. We have to do something about making sure that people who are hurting badly, can't eat, don't have food, are in a position where they're about to be thrown out of their apartments, et cetera, being able to have an opportunity to get a job, that they all think we should be acting. We should be doing more. Unity also is trying to get, at a minimum, if you pass a piece of legislation that breaks down on party lines, but it gets passed, it doesn't mean there wasn't unity. It just means it wasn't bipartisan. I prefer these things to be bipartisan.
It's not the worst
because
answer.
I'm trying to generate some consensus.
I would agitate further against the Republican Party here because it's a great opportunity to, but, you know, it's not the worst.
I'm confident from my discussions. There are a number of Republicans who know we have to do something
like, I want unity, but I want unity for American citizens and what's best for American citizens.
Know we have to do something about figuring
unity
out
doesn't
how
mean
to get children back
unity
in school.
Doesn't mean consistently caving to Republican demands.
If you're anti-union, you can say it's all because of teachers. If you want to make a case, though, that it's complicated, you say, well, what do you have to do to make it safe to get in those schools? Now, we're going to have arguments. For example, I propose that because it was bipartisan, I thought it would increase the prospects of passage, the additional $1,400 in direct cash payment to folks. Well, there's legitimate reason for people to say, do you have the lines drawn the exact right way?
What structural change? The abolition of the industrial prison complex? Or I don't know, just dissolve all capitalistic, imperialistic, colonialism, ideology, and structures? Dude, what are you talking about, dude? Joe Biden is the president, brother. Like, that on that front, that's not going to be fucking any different than Donald Trump. Are you out of your mind? I mean, if that's your fucking expectation, like, wake up.
The other piece of this is that the one thing that gives me hope that we're not only going to sort of stay away from the ad hominem attacks on one another is that there is an overwhelming consensus among the major economists at home and in the world that the way to avoid a deeper recession moving in the direction of losing our competitive capacity
What the
is
fuck
to
is
spend
based
money
Marxist
now.
Bidenist? Don't come at me with like idiotic fucking shit like that.
Across the board, every major institution has said, if we don't invest now, we're going to lose so much altitude in terms of our employment base and our economic growth, it's going to be harder to reestablish it. We can afford to do it now. As a matter of fact, I think the response has been, we can't afford not to invest now. We can't afford to fail to invest now. And I think there's a growing realization of that on the part of all but some very hard-edged partisans, maybe on both sides, but I think there is a growing consensus. Whether we get it all done exactly the way I want it remains to be seen. But I'm confident that we can work our way through. We have to work our way through because, as I've said 100 times,